guys, I'm going to dive right into this video today, organizing my bookshelves. This is from this past summer when we had been here in this new house for a little while, and when we unpacked the boxes, just to get them out of the boxes, we literally just took them out of the box and threw them on the bookshelves. So this is me going through many years of homeschool books, reading books, books that were collected or given to us, and organizing and getting ready to eventually bring in another bookshelf into the living room. My daughter had built a bookshelf for fair, and she was going to be moving her bookshelf out of her room and putting this new one in. So I was getting ready in this video to sort and move all the books around and kind of situate all the books that we had accumulated. I've homeschooled for over 14 years at this point, so we've accumulated a lot of homeschool books. When we moved, if you had taken advantage of the market when it was hot, our house sold so fast and we had to move that I really didn't have time to sort through things as we were packing, but I had sorted through and decluttered for some years, about 2 or 3 years prior to us moving, but you still accumulate more books, more things before move, and it gets a little crazy when you're trying to move and do all the things and everything is happening so fast, because at that time we had fair and state fair, and we had started homeschooling for the year, for that school year for our kids, and so we had a lot going on, and we had 2 houses at one time for a little bit, so we just needed to get things moved. Excuse me. So I'm just taking all the books off the shelves here, and I'm going to be going through and sorting them to what we want to keep, want to sell, want to gift. Sorting through what is too young for my kids anymore, because as I said, we hadn't gone through them for a while, and this year, since we have more room out on our main shelves, some of that was brought on by my kids having bookshelves in their rooms so that they could keep their own school books, their own reading books and whatnot on their shelves and not the main ones. So that's really helpful. Moving into a larger house has also been very helpful. I will say, after this video, when we brought my daughter's bookshelf home, we added the 4th one to the wall in the living room, and that gave us so much more room, and it's been a really big help, and it's not so cluttered and so packed, and it just feeds my little book reading heart, because depending on the year, I can read anywhere between 150 to 300 books. You'll see I recruited my son to come in and help me move the movie shelf. So you can see what I am working with now and what I need to be going through, organizing, and getting rid of what no longer serves us. And by the way, our air conditioner is out, so yay. And I'm waiting for the rainstorm to come through to cool us off, because we have almost every fan in the house going right now. So if you can hear the fan in the next room, please forgive me, but it is like really humid. So I'm going to be sorting and putting them back on the shelves, trying to figure out where I'm going to organize them at. And then I will show you all of the books that I weed out and why. So if you've never organized this many books at one time, I can honestly tell you that I have never organized this many books at one time. It did take quite a while, took longer than I thought, because we had been in our other house for over 17 years, and so when I went through the bookshelves there, it was just a matter of sorting out what we wanted and what we didn't want anymore, and they were still somewhat organized. This was total chaos. So it took me a little while, and you'll see me going through all the books and trying to sort them out into categories and sections and figuring out where I wanted to put each type of book on the shelves. And later, you won't see this, but we did, when we brought in the other bookshelf, I was able to spread some of the books out that were getting a little compacted, and we had a few empty shelves, so that was really nice to be able to see that, so I could bring in new books that would be read and be something that we would enjoy in the future and add to some of our collections. Some of these books, as you can see, we've had for so long, and I just quite don't remember what they're about, where they came from, or why we might have had them. Alright, sorry about that. My camera died and gonna get back to it now. This is about the point where I felt I had made some progress, significant progress in the sorting and organizing. I have a living room full of stacks of books here, stacks of books there, just trying to get a handle and an idea on how I would organize these. So it was a very daunting task and something that was a much bigger project that I had anticipated. But now that they are done, I'm so happy that it just makes it a whole lot easier for us to go and find the books that we need. I still have 2 in high school, and so my younger daughter is an avid reader like I am, and her curriculum is a lot of literature books. It's literature-based, good literature books that are historical, that are scientific, that are even, just interesting fiction. Now she does have her, what others would call twaddle books, just for pure entertainment, as well as I do. I read a lot on my Kindle as well, because it travels easy and I can take several books with me at one time with just this little tablet. So we will have, we have an area that I can pull books from for consecutive years and future years for her schooling, and just use what we have mostly as resources for her, and not having to go out and buy more curriculum year after year. And if we kept all the curriculum that we had ever had, I would need probably about 10 more bookshelves between 3 kids. My older son is not a reader. It just doesn't appeal to him. And he just is one of those that just has trouble getting through a book unless it is super interesting and he hyper focuses on that kind of a topic at the time. So his schooling was a little bit different than my daughter's, and each kid has been different and unique from the others. So it's been an interesting ride through the years, just educating them in a way that would help them and speak to them in the subjects that we were focusing on at the time, that would click with them better than something that clicked with the other ones. So I've rotated a lot of curriculum. If you are interested in curriculum videos, feel free to comment down below, because after 12, 14 years of homeschooling, we have been through quite a bit of curriculum changes and things. More of an eclectic homeschooler, meaning that I pick what works for each subject, for each child. And so we did the box curriculum early on when I didn't have so much experience with it, but as the years went on, I got away from doing the box curriculum because I realized that the same approach did not work with my kids for every subject. They needed a different approach for science versus a different approach for history or math, and that type of thing. So, and if it didn't work, if we got something and it didn't work, we changed it. We didn't keep the same curriculum and push through and make everybody miserable just because it was something that we had bought. So I just kind of changed it up and figured this would be much better. It would speak to them, and they would grasp the concepts and the information better if it wasn't as frustrating. And that is something that we are able to do as homeschoolers, is change up what works for our kids whenever we need to. Me about 3 hours to go through and rearrange and move all the bookshelves. I had my son help me with the movie shelf, as you probably saw, running back and forth. So the books that I decided to get rid of, a lot of them, since we homeschool, I've homeschooled all of my children from the beginning, and my oldest graduated last year. My youngest is going to be in 9th grade this coming year, and so we just don't need the younger books so much anymore. There are some that I am hanging on to because they're good books, and others, they serve their purpose and we are letting them go. So I have, so I'm going to show you this way. It's going to be a lot easier. These are all homeschool books, resources that we used and we no longer need. And so I will be gifting some, selling some, and just generally moving them off our bookshelves. These are more homeschool books or just younger reader books. My son is not using these anymore, the guitar, sorry. So those will be going. And then the most notable, I guess, is we have No Man's Land by Ellen Emerson White. And he, my younger son, is completely into the wars and all the aspects of the wars, how they happen, the strategy, why they happened. So we have quite a few of those types of books. Who was Thomas Edison? Somehow this hung on. And we have a good selection of I Survives that nobody is reading anymore. So those will be going. As far as my books, I have a couple of homeschool books that I've had probably since the beginning. So, almost 20 years. Sometime around there. And as I have homeschooled for quite a while, I just don't need the guidance anymore. I know what we're doing, and we have everything laid out for the next 4 years. I've had this set for quite a while. I don't know how long, quite a while. And I've read through them several times. I've gotten just about everything I need out of them, and I don't need them anymore. Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover. We just don't, I've read it, and we don't agree or don't choose to do everything that the way he teaches, but we did take some tidbits out of there, and we just don't need it anymore. And then this one, I don't even know where this came from. It's Living with the Dead by Kelly Armstrong. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it ended up on my bookshelf, but it's just not something that we have in the house. I just don't read this stuff. It's just not my thing. So that will be going. Let me take you on a little tour and show you where I have placed everything. So you can see now all 3 bookshelves are on one shelf, and I will be moving I will move them all over. They will all be getting moved over one way or the other when my daughter gets her new bookshelf. So this bookshelf is kind of my classics shelf of hardbacks. We've got some Walt Whitman, Jane Austen, Jack London, Sherlock Holmes, my Alice in the Looking Glass, Faulkner, things like that. These are split up right about here. Okay, so you have the younger, middle classics, Old Yeller, The Great Glass Elevator, a lot of Mark Twain. This is Robin Hood, and we have like the Odyssey and Treasure Island and Ivanhoe. These over here are all of your high school age and up classic readings of Beowulf, Chaucer, The Red Badge. Apparently ended up with 2, and I will have to figure out which one I am keeping because I don't need 2. We got the Count of Monte Cristo, Lord of the Flies, The Scarlet Letter, Thornbirds, some Plato, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, John Steinbeck's, and of course H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. I will be adding to this collection as I go, now that I know how much room I have. This is my work in progress. I have read just about all of Kim Harrison's, what is it? It's, what is it? It's a series. Anyway, this series, I cannot think of the name of it. This series is light, funny, good, and for some reason I cannot think of the name. It is about normally I don't read this stuff, but it is about a witch and a vampire, or a half witch, half human and vampire roommates. They are friends, and they just get into all kinds of trouble, and they help each other out of it. I know it'll come to me later. So, and that's all by Kim Harrison. They've got my hardback. My hardback Kim Harrison's over here. I am slowly collecting these to replace these. And then Janet Jovanovic. I have read probably almost every book she has written. And so I'm starting to, anytime I can get it, a lot of these I have found at library book sales, and I've gotten them for $1 or thrown them in a bag for $1. And then down to the next shelf, I've got, I guess you can call it my more contemporary, I'm not sure what to call this. I've got a hodgepodge. I've got some Debbie Maycomber. I've got Eat, Pray, Love, Time Traveler's Wife. I have not read these. The Host, I have not read that, but I did watch the movie, and I wanted to see if I could sometime work my way through the book. And then I've got Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter, and Ghost Rider. And over here is some of our political science and history for homeschooling and just general reference. Some of these I had when I was in college, like Gideon's Trumpet and 13 Days. And then this shelf down here is our history and science, social studies, homeschooling, and again, more reference, because this, criminology, I took criminology, crime and punishment. I do have a book down here, and it is Manson in His Own Words. That was part of our, one of my term papers, I guess you'd call it, and I did a story on criminology with Manson, so that was very interesting. And then on the middle shelf, up here, I have a lot of our Bible, biblical books, references, just books in general, like Bible studies, some Bibles and hymnals, some books for me is The Excellent Wife and The Power of Praying Wife. Then on the next shelf, we have, this is my Narnia series, and then more Christian reading. Then we have Frank Peretti and Ted Decker books. These, this one is what got me into them, and it is a really riveting book. It takes you on a trip, and it really kind of makes you think. So whether you are religious or not, this is a good book to read. And I believe The Visitation is as well. I got these, and I need to read The Blessed Child and The Monster. Then down here, sorry about the lighting, we have the Harry Potter, and then I have my Divergent series, and Stephen King, Under the Dome, matched. We have the first one. My daughter's read them all, but I want to get the other two. And then Tolkien books are right here. So, sorry, it was so wobbly. I probably cut my head off. Up here, I have a lot of my paperbacks. I've got some Heather Graham, some Nora Roberts, Cheryl Woods, Vern Michaels, things like that that will probably rotate out as soon as I read them. I'll probably get rid of them unless I really like the book. This is a hodgepodge of books that kind of just landed on shelves that I wasn't sure where else to put it. I've got some classics, like The Diary of Anne Frank. I've got some Greek myth, Tisra, which is a for the Civil War. I've got our English handbooks, dictionaries, and things like that. This is my, what you call my teacher shelf, and I'm not touching this until I'm ready to put away this last year's stuff, and we have like 2 more days before I'm ready to do that. So, okay. And finally, down here, there's some more science reference, garden books, home improvement, just things that I want to keep. There are coloring books here, and this is my husband's shelf. It's got some Clive Cussler, some Tom Clancy, Lou Holt book. There's some paperbacks behind this and that. So that is about where I'm at right now until I can get the other bookshelf in here, which will be mid to late summer, depending if the project that she is building goes to state. And then we'll just have to wait a little bit longer. So that is it for today, and it's been about 3.5 hours. So if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions on any of the books, I'd be happy to answer questions. Subscribe. I will be trying to get out monthly TBRs and possibly some reviews on books that I read throughout the months. Going to try to post maybe at least once a week, if not twice a week, possibly. Don't hold me to that because I have a farm and homeschooling and 4-H to handle in conjunction with everything. So we will see how this goes, and I will see you next time.